everybody, welcome along to the Monkey Barrel Comedy Chat Show. I'm George Fox, your host. Each week we have a wonderful guest comedian who's performing Monkey Barrel Comedy, and we sit them down and have a little bit of a chat with them, get to know them. And this week we have the wonderful Tiff Stevenson.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay. We're in the festive gooch. Let's talk about it. That's exactly where we are now.
I love that you're trying to make this happen. I'm very much on board.
I'm not trying to make it. It's happened. It's happened, George. It's happened. 13 years ago, I first came up with the phrase to describe the period between Christmas and New Year, where everyone feels a bit weird and we don't know whether we should be in or out, and we feel weird. We haven't got our New Year's resolutions yet. We can't start fresh things, but the excitement of Christmas is gone, and we're up to the gills with cheese.
It's not a malaise, but it's like you're lost.
Yeah.
Where am I? What's coming next?
Yes. And so I called that the festive gooch. So because it's between the balls of Christmas and the arse of New Year. The festive gooch, the bit right in the middle. Now, about this...
You're not criticizing the bit. You're not saying it's a bad bit. You're not saying it's a good bit. It's just a bit that's there.
It's just a bit that's there, and we don't know why it's there and what to do with it. Like the gooch. So festive gooch, and it was about 13 years ago, I think. And I came up with it, and then I've been using it ever since. And then this year it seems to have just sort of entered into the lexicon, into common parlance.
Yeah.
In fact, even another comedian, a friend of mine, sort of mentioned I don't know who come up with it. And I messaged going, I did! It's me! It's me. I don't mind. Look, your babies have to go out into the world.
Yeah.
All I want is, some people bring poetry and romance and beauty to the world. I've given festive gooch to the world. So, let's name it what it is. It's a weird time.
Maybe get people who watch this podcast to go on to Urban Dictionary and attribute it to you.
Oh,
that's the
a good
only
idea.
way.
Attribute festive gooch to me, yes.
I don't know if you can do that on the Urban Dictionary. I guess we'll find out. But surely you have to. If Wikipedia makes you attribute information.
Attribute, bitch.
Yeah.
Get attributing, yes.
But festive gooch. I'm trying to think, is there any other point in the year where there's a time like that, where it's kind of a lost week? But
I mean, probably for Jesus, round about Easter, from when he sort of went down to when he rose again. That's probably a similar period.
I mean, if you had to choose,
rest and restore.
People talk a lot about the idea of like, could we have like a yearly, just a week-long lockdown like we had in COVID, just so everyone could reset once a year? Would you suggest putting it in the festive gooch?
Yeah, I think it could go in the gooch.
That'd be fine. Everyone's buying stuff before Christmas anyway. Get some food in. Everyone goes into lockdown, and we all just spend the festive gooch just inside, indoors.
Cheese come down.
Yeah. New year, new you. You come out fresh, excited.
Hatched.
Yeah.
We get hatched. You get put out into the... And you can do your New Year's resolutions. I'm very bored now because there's this trend of articles always written by someone called like Millie or Tilly or something. And every year they write this like, New Year's resolutions are toxic, actually. It's really bad to have New Year's resolutions. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Is it bad to want to not be a piece of shit? Because I want to be a better person, because I have aspirations. You can probably afford to not have them because your dad's rich. The rest of us, we need New Year's resolutions. We need something to aim towards. But now it's become very fashionable to say New Year's resolutions are bad for us. I'm here for it. I do my New Year restart anyway around my birthday. My birthday's in September, so I see that really as my new year.
Oh.
Whenever your birthday is, you can do your New Year.
Yeah, mine's in September as well. I'm September 11th, which is for a while was fine, and then it was like, oh,
just
God.
a reset of sorts.
I know, and like, but I always used to think that as a kid, that was when like, September would come, you go back to school. That was kind of, as a kid, that was when your reset was, when you go back into school in September and kind of try and reinvent yourself, I guess.
Yes,
when you move from one school to another, a new class to another class. So I think September is a good time to do it.
Yes.
Especially because you can rebrand yourself or come up with new things. Or
I love that you're going to a new school to rebrand yourself. Yeah. How do I rebrand myself? Let's just go new school, guys.
Look,
I've burnt every bridge here.
Nothing works. Everyone hates me. Let's start again. A new town. Whatever's within our catchment, I'll go from one to the other until I find the best one. But no, I think that's a great idea for people to have a little moment of reflection and go, what can I change? What can I do different? And the people who are fucking contrarians in newspapers who are just like, anything people enjoy, anything that's positive, they'll just go, actually, that's toxic.
Yeah, that's toxic. It's toxic, actually.
Actually, you're toxic. This is the most toxic thing.
Yeah, you're biohazardous, bitch. Back off. I don't want your opinions.
So, something we like to ask comedians and our guests that come on here are, when did you start comedy? Was it 2006? I read a little bio.
It's 2006, maybe. I feel like I did my first hour show at the Fringe in 2009 with very little idea. 2006 was the first time I came to the Fringe. So I think that's about when I started, because when I first started, I did a character who was like a sort of wag, really, called Savannah Dior Media Whore.
I haven't even heard the word wag in so long.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear it again.
We're going back nearly...
Don't think about it.
No,
Don't do it.
yeah,
Don't do it.
yeah. Savannah Dior Media Whore. So what I would do is I would do this character that was like, basically I was punting my autobiography. I had to think of, I approached it because, you know, I come from acting into stand-up. I sort of approached it very much in this way that if I do a character and they don't like it, it's not me they hate.
Yes.
It's the character they don't like.
That's great.
I have some level of protection. And so I had to find a reason for her to be on stage. So she had this book. I mocked up this book. She was promoting her autobiography. It was called Come Inside Myself. and it was like ghostwritten by someone under a sheet. And it was so bad. She had like stories about all the famous men she'd slept with. So that I remember specifically there was a line in it like, as George Clooney rolled off me and threw the condom in the bin, he said, "Never contact me again." And it was the best night of my life. It was stuff like that.
There was like a whole subgenre of books like that for a while.
Oh, there was. Yeah, like Kiss and Tell, like kind of. So that was the sort of genesis. And then I wrote a couple of jokes. I remember one of the first ever jokes I wrote is Savannah, because she was a bit of an idiot, which then is a bit of a trap as well, because you end up in a gig where, or I ended up doing this horrible gig where I ended up getting like heckled because I got there late and I had to replace the headliner, and I had probably done about 20 gigs at this point. So I had like no idea, like no skills to be able to deal with it. I remember one of my early jokes, I used to have like guides for how to dress, like with skirts. So, and my rule was, right, with a mini skirt, if it's an inch away from the hair, it is safe to wear. That was one of the Fox rule. That's what I called it. If it's an inch away from the hair, it's safe to wear. That was one of the jokes. I had jokes about...
I have the same Fox rule as George Fox, but it's for this. It's to stop me from wearing V-necks, because V-necks don't work. It has to be just an inch away from the beard hair, otherwise it goes wrong.
Otherwise, it's bad stuff. So so that was when I started. I got the character, got trapped in character hell, then started writing sort of 5 minutes of my own sort of material, which I did at Old Rope many iterations ago. In Carnaby Street, and Old Rope is a new material night which I run once a month at the Comedy Store. And back in its early days, it's before I ran it, it was mainly comics in a room watching other comics.
Yeah, and I feel like all new nights kind of start off as that.
Yeah, so there wasn't a huge audience, but Glenn Wall did used to heckle the other acts if they were doing old stuff by singing like Bon Jovi and Guns N' Roses songs, I seem to remember. Yeah.
It's very Glenn Wall.
Very Glenn. So he would do that. So that I tried my first ever straight 5 minutes of stand-up. So I think around 2005, 2006 was the beginning. And then the first Fringe, 2009. But I had like no real clue that there was a newcomer award or that there was ever I didn't really understand how any of it worked. It was very, I think that's back in those days, I got every star my first year.
Oh, wow.
1 through to 5, and that. Great.
Yeah. But I think it's really great to go into the Fringe not knowing these things and just kind of blunder about and figure it out that way. So many people are so worried about doing shows and going for these newcomer things. It's like, just get in, get dug in.
Yeah, it's become quite cynical now. And I suppose because the rewards can be great, or like now there's a lot of American acts that come over and kind of really use it as a way to take it back to America, to like do the proofing of something here and then go back to America.
They just do a month here and then it does well, but they're not using any of the momentum they've got from that for here. They just go back to America.
Back to America.
And they're like, my show is a little bit better at the end of a month.
Well, also if they've got, I think the focus on reviews and stuff like that here is a lot, there's not that level of reviewing when you do comedy in like New York and LA and stuff like I've done. There's the Comedy Bureau in LA, which is run by a guy called Jake, and he knows a lot about comedy, and he'll maybe write some reviews and talk shows up. And then in New York, you've maybe got the Times, but there's not that same kind of breadth of interest. Yeah. So yes, so it's...
And just the chaos of dealing with reviews sometimes. Like getting a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4, like that's so chaotic, but fun in a way that you're like, okay, I don't need to put that much stock into these all the time. Like I remember one of my friends got nothing but 5-star reviews for a show, but he got one review that was 1-star, and it was just like, there's no real emotion to the show. It's just jokes or whatever. And so the following year, like really took it to heart, and he rewrote the show, or he wrote a different show, and it was about like his son being sick, and had like a big emotional moment of when he gets better at the end. And the same reviewer came and reviewed it, and the show got 5-star reviews from everyone else. The same reviewer came and reviewed it and gave it 1 star and said it was funny. Too emotional. Literally said it was too emotional.
Not funny
it was
enough.
At one point he looked like he had tears in his eyes, and it made me deeply uncomfortable. I was like, who is this lunatic that's doing these reviews?
Well, and that's why you can't do the shows for those people.
Yeah.
That's why you always have to do the show that you want to do. I feel like I've done every type of show up here, depending on what moves me any given year. And I tend to be like, when it becomes the thing that everyone's sort of doing that type of show, I did it about 3 years ago, and I'm bored and I want to do something else. And like, then I want to go into an area where I go, I just want this to be funny, or do I want this to be philosophical this year? Or have I got to like pull out all my personal tripe, which I have done before, like my personal tripe? I don't know. Your guts,
well, listen, you've made Christmas gooch work. You can make personal tripe work, I think.
Here is like literally offering up. And I think actually, as I've got older and been in comedy longer, I feel less obliged to offer up so many aspects of myself for the edification of a comedy, not so much a stand-up audience, but definitely Edinburgh's.
Yes,
Edinburgh, and I think there was a real phase of, and it kind of happened post Me Too as well. I guess for female comics especially, is like a lot of wanting us to talk about the worst things that have ever happened to us.
Yeah.
So I think there's something, I just want to be able to talk about anything, and I want to be able to have that.
And to be able to not talk about serious subjects if you want. If you're like, I'm having a fun year, I'm having a nice time, and I just want to be silly for an hour.
And also, I sort of hope that even if I am covering a serious subject, I'm disguising it a bit. Like, I don't want it to be so on the nose that it's like, this is what it's about. Like, you should be able to see the themes if you watch it, and you're paying attention. There's always important stuff going to be in there. And I think most comics, have a way of, because that's part of the job.
Factoring that in. You want it to be a show that kind of reveals itself over the hour, as opposed to like a TED Talk where at the start, I'm going to talk about this.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I'm certainly going to have spoken about that, which I think we see sometimes.
Yes, and I think it leans in with all of the press, I suppose, because you need angles for shows.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it becomes, well, this show is about ADHD, or this show is about,
this
Me
particular
Too.
Subject,
This show is about, and it ends up being, you kind of end up being painted into a bit of a corner with it. And I guess
I've seen people go to shows and like it's supposed to be about a specific thing, come out at the end and be like, I thought it would be about more of that. But it was like, well, it's not going to be about your experience of that. It's going to be about this person's experience, which obviously is going to be wrapped up in their life and their experiences.
Yes.
And they probably don't want to talk about that for a full hour. Maybe they'll talk about their life, how it affected them, and then other things, because a person isn't just defined by this one thing.
Well, when you're up here as well, sometimes you're going by what the vibe is when you're up here, because it's inspirational, the festival, and being surrounded by lots of other comics, and there's a vibe and there's energy. And sometimes, that's why I love doing shows at the Monkey Barrel, actually, and doing it this way, of like not coming up with this show that's like been honed to within an inch of its life, is to try and find the show here.
Yeah, it's a little bit loose.
Create the show here and feed off the energy of the city and the people and the vibe and the, because you've got this thing and then you plop it into a room and you don't even know if that room is going to feel right. Especially like I've been at lunchtime the last couple of years. So I'm like, what are people going to be ready for
Yeah.
at lunchtime when they're coming in with coffee?
Yeah.
And I'm their first show of the day. Like, what kind of space what mood do I want to leave them in when they?
Yeah, and you
when
know,
there's
people. I guess the general public doesn't realize this. That different shows at different times of the day can confuse. Like a show that's on like after dinner, you're like, people are going to be tired. They're going to be eating a big meal. They're going to be sitting there just going. And you need to be conscious of that. And that's going to change how the show works.
I've got them the first part of the day, I think, unless they're at a breakfast show. But yeah, you want to get them early doors. We'll get them when they're fresh. And and then
adapt the show to their vibe and kind of while keeping true to what you want to do.
Yeah. So it's it's exciting. It's an adventure, I think, doing the Fringe.
Yeah, 100%.
That was a very long answer to the one question. Sorry.
Well, hey, guess what? We've got the next section of the show that we'll jump into, which is very exciting. This is the social media time machine. We've got a post from your past that we're going to bring up that you haven't seen before. We're going to bring it up on the screen right now. This is from your Instagram, I believe. I think this is from 2020. A lot of them come from 2020. And for people who are listening, not watching, you can check this out on our YouTube page. But this is you dressed as a scout.
A girl guide.
A girl guide?
Yeah, girl guide leader, yes. At Roskilde Festival in Denmark.
Oh, wow. So what is the story behind this?
Before I did stand-up, I used to do street theatre.
Oh.
So there's quite a lot of stand-ups like Stu Goldsmith and other people who used to do like street theatre. Eddie Izzard famously.
Yeah, of course, very famously. I used to do it here at the Fringe.
So that photo you can see on it is from 2005.
Oh, I've just seen that now, yeah.
Yeah, so that is, so we used to do these characters. I worked with a company called Swank, which was an all-female theatre company. And that was kind of the reason that I ended up going into stand-up, actually, because a couple of the women in the company were doing stand-up. So I did my first ever set at a lesbian bar in Euston as Savannah Dior, as in character.
In your character, yeah.
Yeah. So
were you ever tempted to do the character of a Girl Scout? Was that contemplated for a while?
I feel like I've got to let Kathy have those. They're her creations. But that was Babs and what was the other character's name? Yeah, we just used to do like Tick VG. They were like super jolly, like super happy girl guide leaders. And what we would do
I could sense it already.
Yeah, you play with like kids and adults and be like, we'd play stuff on the recorder. I think I remember that was immediately after someone stole, that's Heather on the right, my friend Heather, she lives in Australia now, who's Babs. She had like a little honky horn and someone stole it. So she was screaming, "Give me the horn" at someone. That was fun. But we used to get people to do their happy homemaker badges and they're it's all very pun laden.
Yeah.
But those aren't our boobs. We've got big stick-on gigantic boobs and butts that we had underneath and knee-high socks. It was very the idea for us was for it to be very unglamorous, but almost like Carry On.
A Carry On movie kind of, but very positive. I love positive characters. I don't know why, but like really positive characters. You can't hate them.
They were just great. Like, so everything you did. So if you had kids, you could really like kind of play with them and Tick VG them, and you'd get dads involved. Get dads involved. Get the dads involved. We'd offer them up like we had like a little. We'd make it our home brew. Mm-hmm. So we had dandelion and bird-sock. Is what we had, and we would mix that up. We had a little pop-up tent, and they could get in. We would get the dads to do their twisted fire starter badge.
I can already imagine the dads.
Can you see Agnes Baden? There you go, Agnes Baden Powell. You see on the badge there.
Oh yeah.
So she was the head of the girl guiding movement, and you can see Happiness is a girl guider, I think. Or I remember when I went to Brownies, I think for my Happy Homemaker badge. Brown Owl just sent me home with a bag of her ironing to do, so that felt like child labour.
So you were in the Brownies?
Yeah, I was in Brownies.
I was in the Scouts as a young boy. I was Cub Scouts, I think it was.
Yeah, Cubs. Yeah,
Cubs. And I remember there was like maybe 5 groups, and then it ballooned a little bit up, but there was more people joined. And I remember they randomly were like, "You're going to be like a Scout leader," and they gave me just the most ragtag group of like the worst kids. Just set me off to one side. And every time I would turn up and look at them, I'm like, this is a nightmare. I'm not one of the main characters of whatever this story is. I'm in the background with these awful extras.
Well, that's the reason that works so well. A lot of kids have got experience of brownie scouts or, you know, or even if you're, you know, we've done these abroad. I did the expo in China years ago. So we did, those were Rosemary and Thyme. They were the two sort of gardener ladies. And then there was Cherry and Suzette, who were like, specialised in the masculine makeover, who had like, they had like this like neon trolley full of stuff, and we used to put capes on men and put day glow paints on their on the dads' faces and stuff. Very, very silly. And we'd be like, our products have not been tested on animals, don't worry. They haven't been tested on anyone. They were all brewed in a portaloo. It was all like, we just used to, so it was all improvisational stuff. It was all play. And then that was really helpful for stand-up as well, because it just kind of showed you how to engage with people or win people round, like especially when you're hosting and stuff, to like how to keep people on side but be cheeky and
especially something like that that's at a festival where there's no kind of setup essentially.
Yes.
But then when you're in a comedy club and you've got the stage and the microphone and the lights, that's all helping you, so it's making it easier. It just feels like, oh, most of the work has been done here.
It's pure play actually in the I remember there was once, I think it was in Salford, and it still upsets me now when I think about it. It was one year, was it near? It was in the summer. It was on an estate, and because a lot of the times the council would pay to have these like street entertainers come in. Yeah. So there was a guy called Rory, and his dog. So it was a big guy in a kilt, and then he had a gigantic dog. His wife was like in the dog costume. Like on stilts,
I thought it was a guy with a big dog.
No, it's just a guy on stilts in a kilt, like massive. Oh wow! Like, and then his giant dog, which was his wife on stilts, but she was stilts on all fours and gigantic. Like
she's dressed as a dog.
Yeah.
That's great,
brilliant. And so then we were there, I think, as Cherry and Suzette, or maybe Pearl and Deanie, who were the two cinema rusherettes. So that was a fun one.
The names for every single duo
Kathy,
so far have been amazing.
Yeah, Kathy Peace. Shout out to
well
Kathy.
Done, Kathy.
So and she'd create the costumes. In fact, one of the ones that we had was a bit like Rod and Emu. We would ride these dragons, and we played these two like damsels in. They were called the damsels in distress. Yeah, and we'd black out our teeth. And then we'd be like riding these dragons. You could probably see these if you look it up online, like Swank, Damsels in Distress.
Oh my God. We came from. Are we going to be able to get a picture of this? Maybe we'll see.
Somersetshire-ness, where we were from, and so then we would just go out with gentlemen and say, "Do you really think I'm beautiful? Do you like my teeth? I eat a lot of chocolate to get them looking like this. I eat so many chocolates to get myself looking beautiful."
I love comedy characters that like hassle men, or especially dads. I just think it's so fun.
It's so fun. It's
dads
the
are always
best.
just like, they're always grumpy, but they'll also give into it because their kids are there.
They'll play. They have to play. Yeah.
I wish we could do like a comedy night that was just dads. Just dads are allowed to come in and we just bully them.
Just rinse the dads. Let's bring it on. Rinse the dads. They love it.
And then at the end of the night, you have to stand at the door as they all walk out and slowly look at you and go, "You got me, okay," over and over and over again.
So that was it. It was Salford. It was like a little like estate in Salford, and then we had that. So we were doing Cherry and Suzette, and the Rory and the dog was there, and there was another like walkabout street theatre thing, and then they had fireworks. And honestly, the kids, they came out and they played, but like they just didn't have anything. Didn't have anything for them. Mm-hmm. Like this was one thing, and then when we went to leave, I swear to God, it makes me cry. They were like, "Please don't go, please." You know, like we're enjoying it so much.
Yeah.
Like, and especially all these like little lads who are like little lads off the estate who are like hard. Yeah. You know, that are just completely softened by the time you've gone and played
at the start,
with them.
Like, no way. And then by the end, they're like,
by the end,
really
they're
fun.
like, "Please don't leave. Please don't leave." And you just go, oh, because these kids just never had, you know, just this one time of like, they had a one party night a year, little fireworks, us there. And I was just like, and that was the time I was like, that's shows the worth of this, of just like getting out into the community and doing play and doing theatre with kids that are not getting the opportunity to do that.
How rare is it for maybe those kids that might have been their only experience of theatre up to that point, because maybe even their schools don't even involve that. And you see how much of a difference it makes, that like it lights kids up, it lights up their brains, like, oh my God, this is silly, this is fun. Yes. And also it's a silly fun thing because you were doing it in their estate, that's where they live, you know. It's such a silly fun thing where they are. I think that's so important. People always kind of underestimate what a difference that makes. Like you see it
Yeah.
when people, like when schools bring kids to plays and stuff, or like, you know, the Christmas kind of pantos. It's such a silly thing, but for kids, it just blows their minds seeing
art.
play in front
I
of
didn't
them.
even know the Fringe existed until I came here for the first time. And I think I was like 28.
Yeah, I always think parents that like bring their kids along to the Fringe are so fucking cool. Like what a cool thing to bring.
Yeah.
Depending on the show, obviously, but what a cool thing to bring your kids around and let them see. Oh, this is a thing that happens, and feel that kind of excitement and energy.
Yes.
That maybe when they go back home wherever they live, that might not be there. There might not even be a theater near them. There might not be anything they can go and see.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's always a great thing to let young people see. Ewan,
Did you find it?
anything? No, we can find it.
Swank. If you put
It's cool.
swank damsels in distress.
What we'll do is we'll get Ewan afterwards. Might try and find it online and edit it
Yeah.
in. So what's going to happen is we're going to say we're going to do 3, 2, 1, and either it's going to come up on screen or there's going to be text that says Ewan couldn't find it. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey, that's pretty cool. Or boo. Okay, so we had a guest last week, which was a wonderful comedian, Jay Lafferty, and every time we have a guest, we get them to leave questions for the next guest. So
Oh.
Jay Lafferty has sent in 3 questions for you that we're going to
Okay.
check out right now on the screen. Let's check them out.
Hello, Tiffany Stevenson. I hope you're having a lovely time at the Monkey Barrel podcast with the lovely Mr. George Fox. Today is my birthday, so I thought I would ask you some birthday related questions. So first one is, what is the worst birthday present you've ever been given? Second is, 3 people, living or dead, that you could invite to your birthday party. Who would they be? And third is, what has been your favourite age so far? Hope you have a good time. Bye.
Thank you, Jay Lafferty. So 3 questions there. The first thing we'd like to know is, how long do you think it took Jay to send in those questions? So every week we'll send an email and we'll see how long it takes them. And comedians are notoriously can sometimes take their time. We had, I think last week, Josie Long took, I think, less than 20 minutes to send in her questions after getting the email. But we've also had someone take literally 13 days. So
Right.
we had a little break between episodes. So how long do you think it took Jay to send in?
I don't know. So part of me says, yeah, the comedian thing makes me want to say 3 weeks. But also she's a mum and quite organised, I think. So maybe I'm going to say within 24 hours.
In 24 hours? Okay. Claire?
5 days.
Took 5 days?
5 days.
5 days. Okay. There's no judgment. I feel like all the mums out there are going to come after me. There's no judgment. It's just interesting. We like to make a list and just see who's the quickest, who's the slowest. I think in Jay's case, she'll actually be quite busy.
Yeah.
There'll be a justifiable reason as opposed.
I think I am one of those people. It'll either be I'll do it straight away while
Yes.
I've seen it because I know I'll forget it.
Yeah.
So it will be like Josie. It'll either be within 20 minutes or it's a month.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Yeah.
I think that's all comedians, but
Yeah.
it's been fun slowly putting together this list of like, okay, all right, here we go. Here's where everyone is. So Jay's first question was, what is the worst birthday present you've ever been given?
I talk often about the worst Christmas present, and I'm trying to think. Birthday presents, I tend to find are always quite good because people that come out for your birthday and remember birthday presents are normally people that know you quite well.
That's
Whereas
true.
Christmas, there's a larger spread. It's often like, am I going to see this person? Are we going there to spend a day or two? So therefore we've got to get a present.
Well, I would happily accept worst Christmas presents.
Okay,
If you got a better
a
one for that.
minimizer bra. I got bought a minimizer bra.
What?
From my ex-boyfriend. So obviously I'm married now. Sorry, I have had boyfriends before to my husband. His mum. So my mother-in-law, she bought me a minimizer bra. A minimize. That means to make smaller. If you're not sure what that means, it means to make smaller the breasts, to minimize.
Oh my God.
Because a thing that I can't help, I have no control over is obviously, in her opinion, out of control and needs minimizing. And I just that you wouldn't sell minimizer underpants for guys. It's just this is just a women thing.
Yeah.
We get shamed.
Even just
we
a bra would be such a weird thing to get from your
It's
partner's
weird to get
mum.
underwear from your in-laws.
Yeah.
Underwear, as a rule, is weird.
But then specific medical underwear.
Strap them down, you whore. There's two. But she used to pull my top up and stuff. I sort of suppressed that memory. But I remember once walking in and she was like, pulled my top up because she obviously thought I had too much cleavage, you know.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so that was
a book on dealing with some deep-rooted problems.
Yes,
There's something's going on.
How to be a good mother-in-law.
Yeah.
I'll write that book.
Just a bit of soap that says chill the fuck out on it.
I'll wait till my stepson's had a girlfriend for like, you know, a prolonged period of time, and then I'll write the guidebook on how to mother-in-law.
You could, yeah, well, please.
My mother-in-law now is exceptional, by the way. No notes. No notes. She's
wonderful. No bras.
She's wonderful.
No underwear.
No underwear.
Please don't get underwear. I mean, my partner's mum did get me boxers, and she said I saw them in TK Maxx. I'm not being weird, and I was like, it's still weird.
It's still weird.
But it would have been so much weirder if they're like minimizer boxers. She's like,
my mum's has sometimes missed the mark over the years. With my mum hasn't got. She's like bought a t-shirt from. In fact, I think this is probably on my Instagram. She once bought a t-shirt for my husband that had on it. It had a picture of a beaver holding a bottle of whiskey, and it said beaver liquor.
oh my God.
Beaver liquor on it. And so that when he opened it on Christmas Day, I was like, that's got to go back. And she was like, why? Is it the wrong size? Does he not like the colour? And I was like, no, Mum, it's because it says beaver liquor on it. And she was like, yeah, he drinks whiskey, doesn't he? So I bought him that because I thought that'd be, and I was like, no, Mum, it says he licks minge. It says he licks it. And she's like, oh, don't be disgusting, it's Christmas. Like, as if it was my fault, as if I was the arsehole. But my mum didn't get, she also once bought him a t-shirt, and it was from the British Shot Putting Society, and it just said, I put out.
Oh wow! This is starting to feel like it's not a mistake.
No, honestly, I think she just misses it. She couldn't understand why the beaver liquor.
I don't even understand it myself as a pun, like because it's the whiskey and the beaver. I'm like,
well, liquor, as in liquor, like the American spelling of liquor.
Do you know what? I'm on.
So you would have, yeah. See,
I want that T-shirt. You would get that T-shirt up first, please don't, please do not. That's good. That's
so
good.
Beaver liquor,
beaver liquor. Yeah, I think that's definitely rates up there. Question number 2 was 3 people, living or dead, that you would invite to your birthday party. Who would they be?
Oh, Stevie Nicks.
Oh, that's good.
Would be in there. Big fan of Stevie Nicks. But basically just at any point in my life, I'm trying to be her.
Mm-hmm. I did like that clip went viral again recently where it's her on stage singing at your man, is it Leslie? Is that his name in Fleetwood Mac?
Oh no, Lindsay Buckingham.
Lindsay Buckingham.
Yes.
Just singing.
Was it Silver Springs?
I think it was, yeah. And like looking directly at him.
You could be my Silver Spring.
And he's just like, oh God. And he's like, good for you.
Yeah.
Singing it right fucking at him.
Yeah. I'll follow you down till the sound of my voice will haunt you. That'll be what it
That was the bit. Yeah, that was perfect.
Yeah. The history is what kind of makes the band, isn't it? And I used to have a bit in my stand-up years ago of me singing as Stevie Nicks, turning into Cartman from all the cocaine. There were rumours. Allegedly. There were rumours.
As we always say in the podcast, allegedly.
So Stevie would be in there. I would have loved to have met Maya Angelou. I think her work, her writing, I
think they both get on.
I think they'd get on.
Yeah.
I think she always manages, Maya Angelou always manages to be so gracious and erudite, and also she talks a lot about the power of words and the meaning of words, and so I would have loved to have met her.
Just read Stevie Nicks' lyrics while sitting there. These are some powerful words. Look at her, they're making Lindsay Buckingham feel right now.
I feel like Maya always has like an answer for like she would be an amazing agony aunt. She always seems to have an answer for how to deal with the situation or how to be gracious and graceful and 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 also she was like a polymath, bit of a polymath, wasn't she? Because she sang, she danced, she
Did a bit of
wrote
everything.
poetry. Yeah,
I feel like
she's-
already there's definitely going to be singing at this dinner party.
definitely
So
gonna
that's
be
a great
singing.
sign.
And who else would I? I feel like it's going to get like too musical because I would like, if he wasn't dead, I definitely think I'd be married to Jeff Buckley. I think that would have happened for me.
Yeah.
I think I love his.
I feel like you've made an amazing concert as well right now. This is great.
Yeah, but and then maybe I don't know. Would I want some philosophers in the mix? Would I want
Who'd you
3
go
is
for?
hard. I feel like 3 is
Yeah.
it's tough because obviously
You've now got to figure out another part to that 2-person dynamic.
yeah.
So it's like, you want to shake
Jeff,
that.
I feel like it's going to be quite introvert.
Yeah.
And I want to know what happened. I want to know whether he was just going for a swim.
Yeah. I mean, that is the big question.
It's sort of
Tell us, Jeff.
that mystery is left.
Yeah, but that's also part of that mystery. You just,
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
like, fill in. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
no. you see him
Yeah.
knock something over the dinner
Yeah.
table, you're like, I think he's a klutz.
I think it's
I don't think
just
we want to
become
know
real. It was an accident. God damn it, Jeff. God damn it.
My God, Jeff has like real Mr. Bean vibes.
He's the reason I don't sing because, like, I like singing and I'll do a bit of singing, but like as a career choice because I listen to Jeff Buckley and I just go, but I can't be that. And if I can't be Jeff Buckley, then what is the point? Not what is the point, but he's so amazing at it. It's almost like obviously his songwriting skills, his guitar playing, but just like when he sings, you're like, don't take the piss. You're taking the piss now. The vocals are so amazing.
I think you got to bring Jeff as the third then. I think you
bring
got to
Jeff.
have that question answered. I think
Have
you
the
gotta,
question answered. Bring Jeff in. Yeah.
So there you go. That's it. That's a
3.
good 3. That's a good 3
But I know
for sure.
I'm immediately going to be afterwards going, why didn't I say Joan Rivers, for example? Joan,
Yeah.
iconic. Yes. Would love to.
She's great, but it would
obviously.
you'd just be an audience of 3. You
With
the two
Joan,
with
yeah,
Joan. Whereas
yeah.
Jeff, I feel like there's a dynamic there. You're all going to get to know each other. That's
Yes.
a good party. I think a dinner party at the end.
Amelia Earhart, like there's other people where you go, you
It sounds
want to
like you
know.
just want to solve mysteries
I
now.
want to solve mysteries. I'm inviting everyone to find out how
Lindbergh
they died.
baby, where were you?
It's all happening. Jack the Ripper, or whichever prince it was at the time that they thought might be.
Oh, there's so many. I mean, you could just do a dinner party that's just the 3 people they thought was Jack the Ripper and be like, look, one of you say, one of you tell us now.
Lizzie Borden, did you? What's
Point-
the vibe?
Point at the one.
I need to talk. I'm a stepmom. We need to talk about stepmoms and your behaviour towards them.
And question number 3 was, what has been your favourite age so far?
Oh, part of me is like, obviously, I love my youth, my 20s for my energy and general mobility and energy levels. But it's weird, isn't it? Part of me wishes there was a time machine where you could freeze your creativity at like 9 years old.
And just bring it to
Your
you
imagination at
with
9 to live in the same body as whatever I was going to say financial, like the career that I'll have at 60.
Yeah.
To match the salary I've got at 50 to match the,
you can mix those two
wonderment that
together,
I
the
have.
wonderments. Yeah.
To have, but that's what sort of builds a person, I suppose. At 40 was pretty good because I went to...
That's kind of the halfway point as well. So you kind of feel like you got a bit of both.
40 was pretty good. A lot of the stuff that's happened to me that's great has happened later on in my life. And there is they call it late bloom, but I don't like the flower similes that follow women around. Like, she's budding, she's blossoming.
Yeah, but it also suggests that it's not your doing.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
exactly.
oh, life is done. It's like, no, I fucking made these choices. I've done this myself.
Yes, yeah. It's like late bloom suggests you should have bloomed earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on? So but all the good stuff that's happened to me, I think, has probably been past 40. So I did this big American movie. I got married in my 40s, so I would say 40 was probably a moment that I thought was going to be this fearful thing because as women, we do get, we are judged much more when we age and it's different for us. But actually there's something freeing about getting older in that you care less about what other people think and more about what you think. And so that, I think, knowing yourself is quite nice. So I'd say 40 probably.
40? That's
a good birthday. Yeah, and I was flown first class to Vegas to do this festival for Virgin. I basically tweeted jokes on a plane was what it boiled down to. But they flew me first class.
That's
and,
amazing.
It was fun. Yeah,
that's when you know life's going good, when you're in first class. Amazing.
It was in first class, and then in Vegas, baby, and LA. So
we're gonna get you to do some plugs now and stuff. But whenever we throw to people, it takes a minute. So think about the plugs you're gonna do. And for the people at home, I'm just gonna say thank you for watching the episode. There's a new episode every Wednesday. Please, of course, share the episode, leave reviews. Please check out the other podcasts we record here at the Monkey Barrel Studio, such as Sam Lake's wonderful Let's Have a Rosé and Talk About Feelings. And if you want to come see live comedy, there's shows on every night at Monkey Barrel Comedy. And if you'd like to see me, I'm doing a live show at the Glasgow International Comedy Festival on Sunday, March 31st, a new show called Sugar Daddy. So check that out. And what do you have to tell people to check out? I'm
doing a show here tomorrow, and it won't be out by then. So, but I will be here next year. Come check me out for the Fringe next year at Monkey Barrel. And I'm also doing husband material for a select few tour dates. I'm thinking Liverpool in March, London, Bristol, Brighton, Leeds. So just find me on Instagram, and I tend to put stuff up on there. I do have a mailing list on my webpage. It hasn't been updated since Brexit, I'm not going to lie. So, but join it if you want, because I do mail outs to let people know that that's going on. So,
stuff that's coming out. And of course, do follow Tiff and to check out all of the posts online and the many, many things you've done that the people should be checking out and seeing in the future. Thank you for checking out this week's episode. A big thank you to Claire and Ewan behind the scenes, and to our wonderful guest Tiff. And we'll see you again next week. I'll be George Fox. Bye-bye.
There's something hiding under the ice, imitation of a sound. There's something standing behind the door.